mas eu vou dizer que a conversa está a ser gravada e que... Deixa-me pensar uma coisa, porque assim eu digo as vossas frases de vez em quando. Eu digo, vou-lhes dizer aos votos que a conversa está a ser gravada e está a ser monitorizada pela minha equipa, ok? Vocês são a minha equipa, ok? Pronto, vai ser isto já, vai ser isto. Vamos começar. Vai ser isso. Ok. Ora bem, eu não faço a mínima como é que isto funciona, ok? Eu nem sei o que é que temos que desvendar. Deixa eu ver, notebook. Go to police station and ask Chief Gretzi about the murders. Ok. About the murders. Chief Gretzi. Gretzi. Police station, não é? Police station. Escreva aqui ou falo para o seu... ok, já está a falar, né?
Well, what do you want? Spit it out. I don't have all day to waste on small talk. So, Detective Martini, what brings you here? Have you made any progress on the murder case? Detective, I must say I'm quite disgusted by the recent events in Vaudeville. 3 gruesome murders in such a short span of time. It's unsettling, to say the least. Tell me, what leads do we have so far? Any suspects?
Oh, amigo, eu primeiro pensava que o senhor falava português, mas afinal não. Isso não está a funcionar.
Spoke Portuguese, you say. That's an interesting lead, but it seems it didn't pan out. So we're back to square one then. No worries, we'll keep digging. What else do we know? Are there any other connections among the victims?
Olha, primeiro quero dizer que esta
No other
conversa...
connections.
Então, mas isto não me deixa falar.
That's peculiar. It's as if these murders were completely random. But we can't rule out the possibility of a hidden link just yet. Have we thoroughly investigated the crime scenes? Perhaps there's some evidence we've missed. Alright, go ahead and say what you want to say, but make it quick. I don't have all day.
Olha, então é assim. Primeiro, esta conversa está a ser monitorizada pela minha equipa, ok? Por isso, cuidado com o que o senhor vai falar. Segundo, isto é sobre o quê?
Oh, I see. Your conversation is being monitored. Very well, I'll keep that in mind. Now, what's the second thing you wanted to mention? Don't leave me hanging, Detective Martini. What's the second thing you want to discuss?
Olha, queria falar consigo então sobre os assassinatos que têm acontecido por aqui, pela cidade.
Yeah, the murders. Yes, it's quite a disturbing situation we find ourselves in. Tell me, what specifically did you want to talk about regarding these murders?
O que é que o senhor...
Any new developments or leads?
O que é que o senhor sabe sobre estes assassinatos?
You're deep in thought, aren't you? What's on your mind when it comes to these gruesome murders? Do you have any theories or insights that could help us crack this case?
Eu quero saber tudo o que tu sabes sobre os assassinatos. Agora!
Look, Detective, I don't have all the details at my fingertips. But what we do know is that all 3 victims were brutally attacked. The causes of their deaths are still being investigated. If you want more specific information, you'll have to speak with the coroner. They'll have the most accurate details on the matter. Is there something specific you're looking for?
Olha, então para que é que me mandaram vir falar contigo se tu não sabes nada?
Now, there's no need to get worked up, Detective Martini. I may not have all the answers, but I'm the one overseeing this investigation. Perhaps they sent you to me because I can provide guidance and direction based on the limited information we have. We're in this together, after all. Let's focus on what we do have and work towards finding the truth.
Então é para ir aonde? Diga lá.
NSA, I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that name or place. Could you please clarify what you mean?
Eu perguntei para onde era para ir.
Where to go? Well, Detective Martini, we're in Vaudeville, the heart of our jurisdiction. There's plenty to investigate right here in our own city. We don't need to go anywhere else. What specifically are you suggesting we go and see?
Eu quero saber com quem tenho que falar, homem.
Well, if there's someone specific that you think we should talk to, I'm all ears. Who do you have in mind, Detective?
Eu quero que me digas com quem tenho que falar. Meu Deus, nossa senhora.
Who you need to talk to. Detective Martini, as the police chief, it's my job to oversee the investigation and provide guidance. If there's a particular person you believe we should speak with, please let me know. Otherwise, let's focus on gathering more information and following up on any leads we may have. Our lord, I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Are you referring to someone specific we should seek out for information? Please clarify.
Olha, é o seguinte. Qual é a tua idade, homem?
Given man, I'm sorry, but I'm not quite sure what you're trying to convey. Detective Martini, could you please provide more context or rephrase your statement?
Qual é a sua idade, senhora?
Why, I'm an old-timer, detective. Been in this line of work for decades. But I suppose you're wondering about my age specifically. I'm in my late adulthood, if that's what you're getting at. Is there a reason you ask?
Sim, eu acho que já devia estar aposentado.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Retirement, you say? Well, I'm just a few months away from hanging up my hat and enjoying my golden years. But until then, I'm still the chief around here and I intend to see this case through. Age is just a number, after all. Now, let's get back to the matter at hand. Do you have any leads or suspects in mind?
Deixa-me só perguntar à minha equipa se tem alguma pergunta que queira fazer, ok?
Your team, Detective Martini. I thought you mentioned earlier that this conversation was being monitored by your team. Are they able to provide us with additional information or assistance in this investigation? If so, I'd be interested to hear what they have to offer. Please go ahead and ask them your questions, and we can work together to solve this case.
Ok, equipa, digam-me perguntas para fazer ao senhor, se faz favor, ok? Aquele é meio burro.
Alright, Detective. I'm all ears. What question does your team have for me? Let's see if I can help shed some light on the matter. I'm sorry, Detective Martini, but I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean by half a blur. Could you please provide some more context or clarify your statement? I'm here to assist, but I need a bit more information to work with.
Olha, a minha equipa pergunta que detalhes tens tu sobre os assassinatos.
Oh, the details about the murders, you say. Well, Detective, I don't have all the specifics at hand, but what we do know is that all 3 victims were brutally attacked. The causes of their deaths are still being investigated. If you want more specific information, you'll have to speak with the coroner. They'll have the most accurate details on the matter. The coroner's office is located at the morgue. You can find it just a few blocks away from the police station. They should have the autopsy reports ready by now.
Ok, olha, uma santa noite e beba uma cerveja por mim, tá bem?
A holy night and a beer. That's quite an interesting combination, Detective Martini. I'm afraid I don't have the power to fulfill that particular request. But if you have any more questions or if there's anything else I can assist you with regarding the case, please let me know.
Vá, tchau.
Download? What do you mean by that, Detective? Are you referring to some information or files
Tchau.
that need to be downloaded?
Tchau.
Please provide more context so I
Tchau.
can better understand what you're asking
Tchau.
for.
Tchau.
T, you say. Well, I must admit, it's been quite some time since anyone offered me a cup of tea. But, Detective Martini, what brings up the topic of tea all of a sudden? Is there
Adeus!
something specific you'd like to
Adeus,
discuss or
homem!
inquire about?
Adeus! Até amanhã! Até amanhã! Até adeus! Uma santa noite!
Thank you, but who is this Charles you mentioned? I don't recall meeting or discussing someone by that name.
Ok, bora! Vamos ignorar o homem. Ele disse para ir... Onde é que era, gente? A morgue, não era? Era a morgue. Tínhamos que ir à morgue. Ora, santas noites, menina!
Well, in the realm of life and death, there are no holy nights, my dear. Death is an inevitable part of our existence, and it doesn't discriminate. It takes both the virtuous and the wicked. But it's in these moments of darkness that we can truly appreciate the light, don't you think? We must face the reality of mortality with a rational mind and an open heart. Now, let's focus on the evidence at hand. The wounds on the victim's body indicate a brutal attack, likely inflicted by an animal.
Tipo de animal?
Yeah, the question of the beast that caused such havoc. Well, based on the pattern and severity of the injuries, it's difficult to pinpoint a specific creature. However, the deep lacerations and claw marks suggest a predator with sharp claws and a powerful bite. Perhaps a large canine or feline, or even a wild boar. The savagery of the assault is quite unsettling, isn't it? It's a reminder that even in the civilized world, nature's primal instincts can still emerge.
Achas que existe a possibilidade de ter sido T-Rex?
A remix, you say? An intriguing thought, though I must admit it's highly unlikely. The wounds on the body exhibit clear signs of animalistic aggression, not to mention the sheer force required to inflict them. While I understand a desire to explore alternative possibilities, it's important to follow the evidence and remain grounded in reality. It's fascinating how the human mind can search for meaning and patterns in the most chaotic of circumstances. Isn't it? But let us focus on the facts and unravel this mystery together.
Esteberria, eu vou pedir que sejas mais sucinta a falar. Estás a falar muito.
Apologies, my dear. I do have a tendency to delve into the depths of analysis and explanation. It's just my nature as a coroner, you see. I spend my days
Precisas de saber
examining
onde
the
foram encontrados
intricacies
os
of
corpos para
life and
tentar investigar o
death,
local
trying
para
to
ver
make
se há
sense of
alguma
the
pista
chaos
sobre
within our mortal coil.
É bem, é isso
But I
mesmo.
do appreciate your
Mas eu quero saber se é um
patience, and I
dinossauro, peraí.
realize that brevity can be a virtue in certain situations. Sometimes, a simple diagnosis is all that's needed to shed light on the darkness. So let me strive to be more concise in my discourse, like a suture stitching up a wound. Understood, Detective Martini. I'll do my best to be more succinct in my responses. Let's get to the point then. The injuries on the victim's body indicate a vicious attack, likely caused by a large predator such as a canine or feline.
Existe a possibilidade de ser dinossauro?
Detective Martini, you do have an imaginative mind. Dinosaurs, you say? Fascinating creatures from a bygone era. While it is an intriguing thought, I'm afraid the evidence doesn't support such a possibility. Dinosaurs roamed the earth millions of years ago, long before human existence. The wounds on the victim's body bear the hallmarks of a recent and violent encounter. It's more plausible to focus on the realm of the present, where we can find answers rooted in anatomy, biology, and the behavior of modern-day creatures.
Esteberria, diz-me onde é que foram encontrados os corpos, se faz favor.
Indeed, in the world of forensic medicine, we often come across various bodily secretions and fluids that can provide important clues in our investigations.
Eu digo uma
From
coisa e
sweat to
descrevo
saliva,
outra,
each
meu!
carries a unique signature that can aid us in unraveling the mysteries of a case. It's
Diz que viste
fascinating
T-Rex
how our bodies
ontem.
can leave
Isso era
behind
dar-lhe
traces
troll.
of our presence, isn't it? Just like a fingerprint, these bodily fluids can tell a story, revealing the intimate details of an individual's physiological state. But let us not forget that behind every trace left behind,
Meu Deus,
there
ela
is a
fala
person,
tanto, esta
a life
mulher.
has been affected.
Onde é que foram encontrados os corpos?
The locations of the bodies, my dear, are indeed significant in understanding the circumstances surrounding these tragic events. Nicola Grossman's body was discovered outside Pascal's grocery shop, while Maria Jansen's body was found in the forest. Haley Greenwood's body, on the other hand, was discovered in an alleyway behind the club she worked at. Each location tells a different tale, a snapshot of the final moments of their lives. It is within these spaces that we must search for answers, examining the surroundings for any evidence that may shed light on the truth.
Vamos aqui apontar, gente. Vamos aqui apontar. Local. Nicola foi encontrado fora da mercearia, ok? Depois, o Haley, é assim, né? Num beco atrás da boate. Falta alguém? Aí o Pascal está ali. Mercearia de Pascal. Ah, peraí. Pascal. Atrás da boate. Ok. A Maria estava na floresta. Pronto, já temos aqui pistas, ok. O que mais nos podes contar sobre estes falecidos? O que mais nos podes contar?
Well, Detective Martini, when it comes to unraveling the mysteries of death, the one who can truly shed light on the matter is the deceased themselves. The body holds a wealth of information, waiting to be discovered through careful examination and analysis. As a coroner, it is my duty to delve into the intricate details, to decipher the language of wounds and clues left behind. Each case presents its own unique puzzle, and it is through the autopsy that we can begin to piece together the story of their demise.
Estes três corpos tinham todos as mesmas marcas?
Yes, the marks. It is indeed intriguing that all three bodies share similar patterns of injury. The precision and consistency suggest a deliberate act, perhaps even a signature of the perpetrator. The stab wound to the back of Nicola Grossman's neck, the brutal animal-like attack on Maria Jansen, and the repeated blows to Haley Greenwood's head with a blunt object. They all bear resemblance. It's as if we're dealing with a methodical individual, someone who takes pleasure in inflicting pain and leaving their mark.
Espera, então mas eles morreram com uma facada? Então se morreram uma facada na nuca não é um gato nem um cão. Então como é que estamos? Espera aí, o que é? A precisão e a consistência sugerem um ato deliberado, talvez até mesmo uma assinatura do perpetrador. A facada na nuca de Nicola Grossman, o brutal ataque animalesco a Maria Jansen e os repetidos golpes na cabeça de Haley Green. Já sei quem foi Wolverine. Vou-lhe perguntar. Achas que pode ter sido Wolverine? Achas que pode ter sido o Wolverine?
Oh, Detective Martini, you always manage to bring up the most interesting theories. While it is certainly possible that the same culprit is responsible for these deaths, it would be premature to jump to conclusions.
Eu acho que o
We
português
must
não
approach
funciona
each
muito
case
bem.
independently, examining the evidence and
Eu acho que o
considering all
português não funciona
possibilities.
muito bem.
However, I must admit that the similarities in the markings do raise questions about a potential connection. It's like a pathological calling card, a way for the offender to leave their twisted imprint on their victims. Oh, my dear detective, your imagination knows no bounds. Wolverine, the fictional character with retractable claws and a penchant for violence, is quite far from the realm of reality. Though I understand the need for creativity in such matters, we should focus on the facts at hand. The wounds we've observed are consistent with specific types of weapons or implements, not mutant superheroes. Let us investigate further, and I assure you, we will uncover the truth behind these tragic events.
É melhor assim, gente.
Detective Martini, I must admit that your vivid tales of socializing with mythical
Okay,
characters
Buddha.
bring a certain charm to our discussions. While I cannot dispute the authenticity of your encounter, it is important to ground our investigation in the tangible world. As a coroner, I deal in the cold realities of science and evidence. I do appreciate your
Tem marcas
imaginative
diferentes. Um foi
spirit,
com uma
for that's a
faca, outro
touch of
foi
color
ataque
to
de
our
um
otherwise
animal
somber work.
e o terceiro com pancadas.
Now,
Sim, mas eles dizem
let's
que é a mesma
refocus our
pessoa.
attention on the
Ou o
task
mesmo
at
animal.
hand and examine the evidence with our rational minds.
Que o assassino é uma pessoa ou um animal? É mais fácil assim,
Well,
fogo.
my dear detective, it is difficult to say definitively whether the killer is a person or an animal. The injuries inflicted
Tem
upon the
facadas
victims do
na-
bear some resemblance to animal attacks. But there are also elements that suggest a human perpetrator. The precision of the stab wound on Nicola Grossman's neck, for example, indicates a level of intent and dexterity that is typically associated with human actions.
Pois.
However, we should consider all possibilities and not rule out any potential avenues of inquiry.
Podem ser pessoas. Podem ter pessoas diferentes.
Indeed, it is entirely possible, my astute investigator. Each victim presents a unique set of circumstances and distinct
Mas tem como
patterns
ser
of
um animal,
injury.
dava-lhe uma
The
coça,
modus
meu.
operandi appears to differ significantly between the cases, suggesting the involvement of different individuals. It's as if we're
Perguntar.
dealing with a macabre symphony, each player contributing their own dark notes to the composition of these tragedies.
Fazes logo ao
But
fim
fear
do
not,
turno.
for I shall examine each detail
Bora
meticulously,
beber
dissecting the
uma-
evidence with surgical precision,
Uma gelada?
in order to uncover the truth that lies beneath.
Ok, bora.
The end of my shift, I've time to reflect on the day's encounters with mortality. As a coroner, my work is never truly done, even when the sun sets on Vaudeville.
Epá, tu é
Whilst
chata,
I may
meu.
seek solace in a cold beverage or the company of friends,
Acho
I
ela
find
pouco
myself drawn to
monótona.
the quiet solitude of my thoughts,
Bocadinho.
contemplating the fragility of life, pondering the mysteries that unfold before me, and wondering what awaits us beyond the veil of mortality. So you see, my dear detective, my path diverges from the usual indulgences.
Ah, bem. Olha. Adeus, até logo, tenha uma boa noite.
Thank you, Detective Martini. May the night grant you respite from the shadows that hunt our investigations. Rest assured, as
Até logo, até logo. Ora, temos mais o que então? Coral, Cabana Violet, Country Club, Circus Saxabar, Pascal Groceries, Graves and Manor. Qual é o único sítio que nós temos para explorar assim mesmo? É. Acusar, né?
So, tell us, Detective Martini, who is the culprit?
Ai, nós podemos arranjar aqui o culpado já. Então um deles vai ser o culpado, é isso? Quem matou o Haley Greenwood? Ah, nós depois escolhemos aqui. Mas não queremos escolher já. Aí vamos ter que escolher. Aí é, não. Ah, vamos ter que escolher, não nos vai deixar fazer mais nada. Eu só queria... Ok. Gente, quem é que matou ela em Greenwood? Vamos lá. Olha, estamos no fim do jogo. Ora, o Haley foi no beco atrás da boate. Tem que ter sido uma menina. Tem que ter sido uma menina. O anão? Ué, não, atrás da boate? Não, não, não. Tinha que ser aqui. Tinha que ser esta. Tinha que ser esta aqui. Vou votar nesta, gente.
Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why?
Para vingança por inveja, por uma dívida não paga, com punição pelo pecado. Eles eram rivais no negócio por acidente, para proteger alguém, roubar algo como ritual, para a herança, para uma obsessão amorosa. Quem matou Mary Jensen? A Mary Jensen morreu na floresta. Na floresta. Na floresta. Na floresta, quem é que tem ar animalesco daqui? É este. É este. O anão? O anão? Opa, vocês estão a ser assim um bocado... Eu não quero usar a palavra, pá, mas vocês estão a ser assim um bocado... O anão é que é sempre o culpado de tudo, pá. Pascal. O Pascal tem mais cara, meu. É também do javali. Ah, boa, boa. Então é isso.
Are you sure, Detective Martini? And why?
Olha, foi como um ritual. É um ritual que ele tem. Okay. Nicola Grossman. A Nicola Grossman foi fora da mercearia de Pascal. Quem terá sido, gente? Quem é que vocês diziam? Anofóbicos. Este jogo não ganhou o jogo do ano porquê? Opa, não sei, ainda saiu há pouco tempo, por isso provavelmente vai ser um dos grandes nomeados. Foi a mulher do Pascal. Quem é a mulher do Pascal? Não tem aqui ninguém que se chame mulher do Pascal. Olha, foi a Mrs. Potter. Tem ar disso.
Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why?
Olha, para a emoção. Foi para a emoção.
Detective Martini, this is complete nonsense.
O quê? Ok, mas podemos continuar? Mas gostei da resposta dele. Gostei. Ok, onde é que nós vamos? Onde é que nós podemos ir? Isto não há floresta nem nada. Vamos ao Pascal Grocery, isso que aqui morreu gente. Noite, minha senhora.
Oh, dear. I must apologize if my sadness is bringing you down. But you see, life has a way of throwing its curveballs, and I'm just trying to make the best of it. Can't let a little sadness dampen my spirit, can I? So, let's focus on the positive, shall we?
Muito boa noite. Esta conversa está a ser monitorizada pela minha equipa, por isso a conversa vai ser gravada.
Oh, how delightful. A recorded conversation, you say. Well, I do hope my words bring some joy and entertainment to your team. After all, a glimpse into the glamorous and intriguing world of Miss S. Potter is quite a treat. Isn't it now?
A
Where
minha
were
equipa
we?
são vocês, comecem a fazer perguntas,
Yes,
gente.
let's continue our delightful chat, my dear.
Foi essa gaja que a matou. A senhora quer ouvir a palavra?
Ah, the word you want to hear, my cheeriest friend. Very well, let me share it with you. The word is melancholy. Yes, that's right. Melancholy, the sweet sorrow that lingers in the depths of one's soul. It's a word that captures the essence of my current state, don't you think? But fear not, for even in melancholy, there is a touch of elegance and grace. It adds a certain depth to life's tapestry, wouldn't you agree?
Eu vou escrever que é mais fácil, gente. Onde a senhora estava na morte de Nicola. Mais fácil assim.
Nicola's unfortunate demise, you say. Well, my dear, I must confess that I was nowhere near the scene of the crime. You see, I prefer to surround myself with beauty and tranquility, far away from such dreadful occurrences. But I must say, the mystery surrounding these deaths does pique my curiosity. It's like a thrilling novel unfolding before our very eyes. Don't you think?
Essa pergunta é super bem feita. Epá, bom. Mais perguntas. Qual a relação dela com a vítima? Boa, essa é uma boa pergunta. Qual a sua relação com Nicola? Eram amantes? Eram amantes?
Lovers, you ask. My, aren't you a curious one? But I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. There was no romantic entanglement between Nicola and me. Our paths may have crossed in social circles, but that's as far as it goes. My heart, you see, belonged solely to my late husband Victor. He was a man of refined taste and impeccable manners. But enough of my sentimental musings. Let's focus on the matter at hand, shall we?
Ok. Espera aí.
My dear,
Qual
I
foi a
must
última vez que viu
admit that
Nicola?
I'm feeling
Onde e a que
rather
horas?
melancholic today. The weight of the world seems to be resting upon my shoulders, and
Por
I
que ela está a
find
mudar de
solace in the
conversa?
quiet corners of my mind. But fear not, for even in sadness, there is a certain allure, a touch of mystery that dances in the shadows. So, let us embrace this summer moment and explore the depths of our
Vocês
emotions
são bons a
together.
investigar.
My dear,
Ok. Mas tu não respondeste ao que eu perguntei. Aí eu enganei-me.
oh, would you please help me with my bags? It's such a bother carrying them all
Epá.
by myself.
Deixa-me fazer.
I'm afraid my delicate constitution
Peraí.
simply cannot bear the strain. But don't worry, I can assure you I won't burden you with the heaviness of my
Ok.
troubles.
Perguntar quando é que foi a última vez que
A
ela viu o
lady
Nicola.
always carries her burdens with grace.
Cala-te.
Well, my dear, if you insist on knowing the details, I shall oblige.
Quero
The
saber,
last
quero.
time I saw dear Nicolia was at the grand soiree held at the opulent Chateau de Beaumont. It was a night of enchantment and revelry,
Chateau de
filled with
Beaumont.
laughter and music. As for the exact time, well, one mustn't be too fixated on such trivial matters. Don't you agree? After all, time is but a fleeting concept in the grand tapestry of life. Now, let's move on to more captivating topics, shall we?
Conta isso. A última vez que ela viu. Epá, isto se eu for a apontar, estamos lixados, gente. Eu nem consigo, tenho que escrever aqui à parte. Nicola. Nicola. Última vez que o viu foi numa grande festa realizada no opulento Charoa de Beaumont. Ok. Não sabe as horas. Não sabe as horas nem o dia. Ela vai se descair com quem acha que o matou. Ok, vamos perguntarem. Quem acha que matou o não é a, não é? É Nicola. É Nick, é? Ela é que? Não é Nicola, pois não. Estou a fazer muitas perguntas, gente. Ela era que? Não era Nick, era... Era... Nicolia. Ok. Quem acha que matou a Nicolia? Joga-me a Starfield. Quando me mandarem aqui, eu jogava. Então, perguntei, não perguntei. Então. Olha, ela morreu. Quem acha que matou a Nicólia?
Oh, my. The thought of someone taking another's life is truly a dreadful thing, isn't it? But as for who might be responsible for poor Nicolia's untimely demise, I'm afraid I simply cannot say. It's all a mysterious web of intrigue, my dear, and I'm content to watch it unfold from the sidelines. Life is full of surprises, after all. And speaking of surprises, I do hope you have something delightful up your sleeve to share with me.
Minha senhora, estou casado. Gostaria que não se fizesse ao piso.
Dear me, it seems my melancholic aura has cast a spell of mischief upon you, my friend. But worry not, for I have no intentions of stepping onto any floor that is off limits.
É melhor.
I shall gracefully tiptoe through the corridors of conversation, adorned with the elegance
Ela não vai entender isto.
befitting a widow of
Percebeu,
my
ela
stature.
percebeu.
So,
Ela
let us
percebeu.
continue our exchange with a touch of whimsy and a dash of charm, shall we?
Ela percebeu. Mais podes contar para ajudar na investigação da morte de Nicole. Às tantas ela sabe das outras mortes, não é desta?
Ah, my curious friend, you seek more information to aid in the investigation, do you? How intriguing. But alas, I'm afraid I have no further insights to offer.
Não tenho mais nada para
You
dizer.
see, my world revolves
Como é que é,
around the
Bárbara?
charming streets of Vaudeville, and anything beyond its borders is but a distant dream. The secrets of Nicolia's death remain hidden in the shadows, and it is up to the clever minds of the investigators to unravel the truth. Now, let's divert our attention to something more
Seremos a
delightful,
embarcar nas
like
tuas
the
bolhas.
latest fashion trends or
Quais
perhaps
são
a
as
delectable
outras?
recipe.
É Maria Ellie. Maria. Quem achas que matou a Maria? Hã? Quem achas?
Well, my dear, I must confess that the identity of Maria's killer eludes me. It's a mystery as enigmatic as the depths of the ocean, and I am but a mere spectator in this grand spectacle.
És espectador,
The
és.
locations of the murders, you ask. Now, that is a secret that only the winds of fate hold. But fear not, for I shall continue to bask in the luxuries of my own little bubble
Ela
here
para
in
tirar o
Vaudeville,
chapéu. Olha, boa.
far away from the troubles that plague this city.
Tirar o chapéu. Se faz favor.
Oh, my hat, you say. How delightful that you've noticed. But I'm afraid I simply cannot part with it, my friend.
Oh, então.
It's like a crown that adorns my head,
Oh,
adding
Nossa
a touch of
Senhora.
elegance and intrigue to my ensemble.
Ah,
You
pá.
see, even in moments of melancholy, one should never forsake style. So, let us carry on with our conversation, for there are so many more fascinating things to discuss than the whereabouts of my hat.
Mrs. Potter, você é uma das principais suspeitas pela morte de Nicolia.
Suspect, you say? How amusing. I must admit, the idea of being a suspect in such a thrilling mystery does have a certain allure. But fear not, my friend, for I am but a mere observer in this grand theater of life.
Pá, que ela não diz nada de jeito,
Upon
gente.
me, but it is the truth that shall ultimately take center stage. Now, let's delve into the depths of this enigma and uncover the secrets that lie
Fala
within.
mais dessa festa de Chateau de Beaumont.
The Chateau de Beaumont Festival,
Yeah, isto era dos
my
Paber.
dear, was a splendid affair. The opulent chateau, with its sprawling gardens and majestic halls, played host to a night of enchantment and revelry. The air was filled with the melodies of live music, the clinking of glasses, and the laughter of the elite. It was a gathering of the creme de la creme, where elegance and sophistication danced hand in hand. Ah, the memories of that night bring both joy and a touch of melancholy to my heart.
Eu não sei mais que lhe tirarem. Obrigado pelo convite.
Ah, my friend, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'm afraid there has been a misunderstanding. I did not extend an invitation to you, nor do I have any intentions of doing so. My social circle is reserved for those of a certain standing and refinement, you see. But fret not, for there are plenty of other delightful events and gatherings in Vaudeville that may cater to your tastes. Now, let us continue our conversation with a dash of intrigue and a sprinkle of mischief.
Ninguém me convidou para a festa.
My dear, I must apologize if my previous response seemed dismissive. I assure you, it was not my intention to offend or belittle you. However, it is important to understand that invitations to such exclusive affairs are not extended lightly. They are bestowed upon individuals of a particular status and charm, of which I am sure you possess your own unique qualities.
Tá-me a chamar pobre, meu.
For there are many other opportunities for you to make your mark on the thrilling world of Vaudeville. Let's embrace the unknown together and uncover the mysteries that lay within.
Vais ter que me acompanhar à esquadra. Não é assim que se escreve esquadra. Esquadra.
Oh, my, an arrest. How utterly preposterous. I'm afraid you have mistaken my delightful presence for something far more nefarious. I shall not be accompanying anyone to a police station, my friend, for I am innocent of any wrongdoing. But do carry on with your investigation if you must, while I continue to revel in the pleasures of this charming little corner of the world. There are mushrooms to be picked and bridges to be conquered, after all.
Quem é a pessoa que trata dos convites para a festa de chateau de... Eu acho que estamos a fugir muito do assunto.
The person handling the invitations to the Chateau de Beaumont party. Well, my friend, that is a secret known only to the privileged few who grace the halls of high society.
Epá, esta gaja não conta nada. Até logo, até amanhã. Mais, next. Country Club. Para com Michelle. Santas noites, Michelle.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with what you just said. Could you please clarify or provide more context?
Santas noites.
Oh, are you referring to the holiday season? The festive time of year filled with joy, celebration, and traditions. I absolutely love the magical atmosphere during the holiday season. What about it interests you?
O que achas da Mrs. Potter?
Mass? Are you talking about religious mass? Well, I must admit that it's not something I'm particularly knowledgeable about. My focus has always been on fashion. Mrs. Potter. Well, she certainly seems like a refined and elegant lady. Although, now that you mention her, Detective Martini, there was something peculiar that caught my attention a couple of months ago at the country club. While we were in a changing room, I couldn't help but notice some bruises on Mrs. Potter's back. She claimed they were from a fall off a horse, which struck me as odd because I've never known her to ride horses before. It might be worth looking into, don't you think?
Ela alegou que foram causados por uma queda de cavalo enquanto estava no vestiário. Não era aqui, pai, não? Não. Aqui. Mostre-me as suas costas, Mrs. Potter.
Oh, darling, I'm afraid I can't oblige with showing you my back. It's simply not the proper thing to do in public.
Vamos para local mais privado.
Oh, my dear, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm not one for private rendezvous with strangers. It's just not the done thing, you see. Now,
Quero
if
ver
you'll excuse me, I
esses
must attend to my shopping.
hematomas. Não é good
Oh
day nada.
dear, you
Ficas
must be
aqui.
mistaken. There are no bruises to be seen. My skin is as smooth and flawless as ever. Let's not dwell on such unpleasant matters,
Não
shall we?
mintas.
Oh dear,
A
those
Michelle
bruises are nothing to be concerned
Falou-me
about.
que tens
Just a little mishap I
hematomas
had while picking mushrooms in
nas
the woods.
costas de
Nothing out of
uma
the ordinary,
queda
really.
de
But
cavalo.
enough about... Oh dear, I'm sorry if there's been a misunderstanding. There must be some confusion. I haven't fallen off a horse or sustained
Então,
any
mas a outra não
bruises.
disse que a outra caiu de cavalo?
Perhaps you should speak to Michelle directly to clarify things. Now, let's not dwell on such
Onde é que está o Michel? Michel!
Maria, what do you want to know?
Maria? Maria? Eu nem falei de Maria. Maria? Por que estás a falar da Maria?
Oh, I'm sorry if I caught you off guard. I mentioned Maria because I used to spend time with her before she was tragically murdered. It's been weighing on my mind, and I want to find out the truth about what happened to her. I believe she deserves justice.
Ok. Mas o importante é que me mentiste. A Mrs. Potter diz que nunca teve hematomas nas costas.
Lied. That's surprising. I distinctly remember seeing bruises on Mrs. Potter's back a couple of months ago when we were changing in the dressing room at the country club. I asked her about them, and she said it was from a bad fall from a horse. Are you sure she never had bruises on her back? It's strange that she would deny it now.
Será que isto é propositado, gente? Ela própria me confirmou, apesar de não me mostrar as costas.
Oh, that's quite unexpected. I find it odd that Mrs. Potter would confirm it herself, but not show you her back.
Yeah,
It makes
ela
me wonder
mostrou o
why
back.
she would do that. Maybe there's more to the story than meets the eye. I mean, why would someone lie about something like that? It's all very puzzling, don't you think?
Exato. Quem estará a mentir?
That's a good question. It seems like there might be some conflicting information here. If Mrs. Potter confirmed it but didn't actually show your back, then it's hard to say who might be lying. Perhaps there's a misunderstanding or something else going on. I think it's important to gather more information and try to piece everything together. We need to find out the truth behind these conflicting accounts.
É? O que fazia com a Maria diariamente?
Well, I can't speak for every single day, but I know that Maria was quite involved in the social scene of Vaudeville. She attended various events and parties, always dressed impeccably. She had a passion for fashion, just like me. We would often discuss the latest trends and designs. She also had a keen interest in solving mysteries, which is why her death has hit me so deeply. I wish I knew more about her daily activities, but unfortunately, I can only share what I observed during our time spent together.
Meu Deus. Esta moça não é muito fácil de... Olha, eu só lhe vou fazer uma última pergunta, minha senhora. Quando é que vou receber o código do Starfield?
The Starfield code. I'm sorry, but I'm not familiar with what you're referring to. Could you please provide more context or explain what the Starfield code is? I'm afraid I might not have the information you're looking for.
Eu vou lhe mentir. Espera aí. Esqueçam. Eu a partir daqui... Pronto, eu vou entrar agora em palhaçada porque impossível desvendar isto, gente. Eu precisava de uma stream inteira de 20 horas para conseguir desvendar isto. Michel, na verdade, quem matou estas 3 pessoas fui eu.
Wait, what? I am sorry. I don't understand. Are you saying that you're responsible for the deaths of those 3 people? Why would you say something like that? This is quite shocking. Can you give me any explanation or reason behind such a statement?
E a próxima pessoa a morrer és tu.
Detective Martini, I believe there might be a misunderstanding here. It's important to clarify that it was actually Maria Jensen, Nicola Grossman, and Haley Greenwood who were the victims of these recent murders in Vaudeville. They were all individuals who had connections within our community. Is there a specific reason you mentioned being involved in these incidents? I'm curious to know more about what you meant by your previous statements.
A próxima vítima és tu. Vou-te matar.
I'm sorry, but I don't understand why you would say something like that. Are you trying to make a joke? This is a very serious matter, and making threats is not something to be taken lightly. I hope we can resolve this situation peacefully and find the truth behind these
Estou a achar
tragedies.
estranho estar a demorar tanto, mas... Pergunta se ela sabe alguma coisa sobre o Château de Beaumont. Vocês estão, acho que estão mais empenhados na pesquisa que eu, pá. Eu só quero gozar com ela. Sabe alguma coisa? Ok.
Chateau de Beaumont. That's a rather sudden change of topic.
Pá,
To be honest,
eu
I'm not
gosto de
familiar with
mudar
it.
assim o assunto.
Is it a new venue in Vaudeville? I'm mostly acquainted with the cafes, shows, and parks in our city. But if you have any information about it, I'd be interested to hear more.
É o sítio onde só os ricos e os convidados vão. É uma festa. É um sítio onde há festas. Ok.
Oh, really?
Hoje
Place
matei
where
às
only
5
the
sem
rich and the
estar
guests
filme.
go.
Não, hoje
How intriguing.
stream só.
I must admit, I haven't heard of the Chateau de Beaumont before. But parties exclusive to the wealthy and their guests sound quite fascinating. Do you happen to know more about these parties? What makes them so special and sought after?
Quem faz as perguntas aqui sou eu.
Apologies, Detective Martini. It seems there was a misunderstanding. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Já colocamos aqui um travão, que ela já estava a querer ser a inspetora. Eu esqueci-me de dizer, mas esta conversa está a ser monitorizada pela minha equipa do chat.
Monitored by your chat team. That's rather unexpected. May I inquire why your conversation is being monitored? Is there a particular reason for this? It's certainly an intriguing situation, and I'm curious to know more about it.
Sim, porque tu és uma das principais suspeitas.
Me, a suspect. But why would I be considered a suspect? I'm just as eager as you are to find out the truth behind these murders. In fact, that's why we're having this conversation, to uncover any information that might help us solve these cases.
Deixa eu ver com a
I assure
AI.
you, I have no knowledge of who the murderer could be.
Dá
Do you
para
have
eles
any
não
leads
falarem
or
em
suspicions
português,
that
pá.
point towards me?
Era mais visto se fossem em português. E se eles percebessem bem o que eu digo, porque eles muitas vezes às vezes traduzem mal, então tenho que escrever. Olha, tu não ajudas em nada. Até amanhã.
Until tomorrow. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I understand what you mean. What won't help until tomorrow? Is there something specific that is going to happen or some new development that will shed light on the situation?
Até amanhã.
Please, if you can provide more details, I would appreciate it.
Até amanhã.
Bye-bye, see you. Goodbye, I look forward to speaking with you again.
Se quiseres, posso-te dar o meu número.
Oh, a number. What kind of number are you referring to? Is it related to the investigation or something else entirely? Please, do share more details so that I can better understand what you're referring to.
O meu número privado para a investigação.
A private number for research. That sounds quite intriguing. I'm curious to know more about it. Could you please explain what this research entails and how the private number is involved? I'm always interested in learning and exploring new avenues of knowledge.
O número privado é para teres acesso à minha conta de Instagram e aí falarmos por DM.
Access to your Instagram account. I must admit, that's an unexpected request. While I appreciate your willingness to connect and communicate, I'm afraid I can't accept access to your personal account. It's important to maintain privacy and security online. However, if there's anything else I can assist you with or if you have any questions related to the investigation, I'm here to help.
Não funciona, infelizmente.
I'm sorry to hear that I'm sorry if I've said or done something to upset you, but I assure you that violence is not the solution. Let's try to keep this conversation civil and focused on the matter at hand, which is solving the murders in Vaudeville. If there's
Por
something
amor de
specific
Deus,
you'd
minha
like to
senhora,
discuss or if you
esteja
have any
calada,
relevant
estou farto de
information,
ouvir.
please feel free to share.
Já estou farto de ouvir. Vamos aqui ver o que é que se passa aqui. Ora, muito boas noites.
A pleasant evening to you as well. How delightful to have someone visit my humble abode. Are you here to take a look at my collection?
Sim, vim ver a tua coleção.
Oh, splendid. I do so love sharing my treasures with others. Please, allow me to guide you through the wonders of my collection. Let us begin with this marvelous wall adorned with memorabilia from all corners of the globe. Each item holds a story and a piece of history. Is there anything in particular that catches your eye?
Eu acho que este tipo de interações eventualmente vão se tornar mais comuns em jogos. Eu tenho essa ideia. Quero ver a sua coleção.
Of course, my
Nem
dear
sei
visitor.
coleção de quê.
But before we embark on this grand tour, do tell me, what piques your interest? Are you drawn to the ancient artifacts from Egypt, the intricate masks from Africa? Or perhaps the delicate porcelain from the Far East? Or perchance, you have a fondness for the curiosities of nature, like the preserved specimens of exotic creatures? Pray, do share your preferences, and we shall commence our exploration accordingly.
Tem alguma coisa de Portugal?
Portugal, you say? Yeah, a splendid choice. I do have a few remarkable items from the land of Fado and pastéis de nata. Let me show you something truly extraordinary. Do you happen to have any specific interest from Portugal? Art, history, or maybe even a particular region that captures your curiosity? I have quite a collection, ranging from beautiful ceramics to historical documents. Oh, and how could I forget the exquisite wines? Portugal has such a rich and diverse culture.
E a francesinha?
Francesinha, you say? My, that's a delightful culinary specialty from Porto, isn't it? A true gastronomic delight.
Estou a gostar deste
I must
senhor.
admit, my knowledge of Portuguese cuisine is rather limited, but I do appreciate the artistry that goes into creating these regional delicacies. Tell me, have you had the pleasure of experiencing the francesinha firsthand? I'm curious to know your thoughts on this unique dish.
Sim, eu sou de Portugal e já comi muita francesinha.
Oh, how marvelous. You're from the very place that birthed the delectable francesinha. How fortunate you are to have savored its flavors. Pray, do share your experience with me. What was it like? The combination of meats, the tangy sauce, and the melted cheese, all laid together in such a magnificent way. I can only imagine the explosion of flavors that dance upon the palate. Was it as extraordinary as they say?
É ainda melhor, meu amigo.
An even better friend, you say. Now, that certainly piques my curiosity. Please, do enlighten me. I'm intrigued to know what makes this particular friend of yours so exceptional. Perhaps there's a fascinating story behind your bond or some remarkable
Estragou
qualities
tudo,
that set
pá.
them apart from the rest. I must confess, my dear interlocutor, your statement has piqued my curiosity. Pray tell, how does a friend ruin everything? Friends are meant to bring joy and companionship. Do share the tale, for I am most intrigued to understand the intricacies behind such a situation. Ver du Minho, you say. How fascinating. It seems that my knowledge of Portuguese cuisine is about to expand. Tell me, what makes the francesinha NVIDIA so special? Is it the ingredients, the preparation, or perhaps a secret recipe passed down through generations? I am always eager to explore new culinary experiences, especially when they come with a recommendation from someone as knowledgeable as yourself.
O que conheces sobre Vieira do Minho?
My dear interlocutor, I must admit that my vast collection of curiosities does not extend to specific details about every town and village in the world, including dear old Vieira do Minho. However, I am ever curious to learn more. Pray, enlighten me about the wonders and charm of this place. Are there any notable landmarks, traditions, or local specialties that make it a truly remarkable destination? I am all ears, ready to soak up every bit of information you have to share.
O que tens de Braga?
Oh, Braga, now that's a city I am familiar with. Braga,
Pronto.
known as the Rome of Portugal, is a treasure
Como é que
trove
é,
of history
Foquitos?
and
Como é que
culture.
estamos?
The
Estamos
stunning bomb
bonitinhas?
Jesus
Que jogo é
Dumont
este? É um
Sanctuary with its
jogo de
majestic brooks
investigação
stairway is
que eu
a sight
estou
to behold. And let us not forget the
a ser
impressive Braga
estúpido só.
Cathedral, a
Que
true
supostamente tenho que
architectural
desvendar
masterpiece.
3
But tell me,
assassinatos.
my knowledgeable guest, what
Mas
specifically
estou
are you interested in exploring or discussing about Braga? The history, the cuisine, or perhaps the vibrant festivals that take place there? I am eager to hear your thoughts.
Bem, ele já falou da Catedral de Braga. Neste prende convidado, o que especificamente você está interessado em explorar ou discutir sobre Braga?
Braga, you say. How delightful. I must
Caralho, isto foi
admit,
buscar o
I
que eu
have a
disse,
fondness
meu.
for cities with such rich historical and cultural significance. Pray, do share your insights on this charming Portuguese gem. What aspects of Braga captivate your interest?
Pinky Promise, a Pinky Promise,
Is
é
it the
lindo,
architecture,
Foquitos.
the
Opa, eu
local
queria
traditions,
era
or perchance
é
the lively
cúmplice também a
atmosphere that
Pinky
permeates the
Promise
streets?
entregarem o Starfield
I
para
am
eu
most
jogar.
curious to learn
Mas
more about this
parece
enchanting
que
city.
está complicado. Como é que estamos, Foquitos? Como é que andas? Como é que anda a tua vida? O que é que a gente mais pode perguntar? Sei lá, olha. Relativamente, eu vou escrever que senão vai dar a bué de erros. À francesinha. Infelizmente, eu comi a última a nível mundial. Nunca saberás o prazer de comer uma. Tu não me digas que ele não vai... Tu não me digas que isto é o bug. Sobre a francesinha, eu comi a última do mundo. Nunca poderás comer mais nenhuma francesinha agora.
My dear interlocutor, I can't help but be intrigued by your statement. The last one in the world, you say. That sounds rather extraordinary. I can only imagine the unique circumstances that led to this momentous occasion. Tell me, what made that particular francesinha so special? Was it the flavors, the ambience, or perhaps the company you shared it with?
Epá, até amanhã, meu. Epá, não dá mais, gente. Não dá. Eu estou ocupado de falar com esta gente. Pá. Esta gente não sai do sítio, pá. Epá, não me levam a sério, meu. Não me levam a sério. Pá, mas está a girar a experiência, meu. Isto para um gajo sair daqui com a resposta certa ia ter que perguntar e para aqui, para trás, apontar. Está interessante a ideia, só que sabem que se formos a fazer isto nunca mais saímos daqui. Esse jogo é pesado. Pesado, pá, 6 GB. Não acredito que seja pesado em termos de requisitos. Pá, se vocês quiserem o link para o jogo, eu posso-vos mandar aqui o link. Já que me ofereceram aqui disto, não é? Oi! Está a tocar isto aqui. Está aí aqui. O jogo está em Early Access ainda. Provavelmente ainda vai ser conteúdo. Diz que vai estar 3 meses e não sei o que, não sei o que mais. Pá, os requisitos para isto, uma mínima é uma GTX 1050, por isso. À partida não é uns requisitos para ir além.